All right, I need to be a bit coy and cagey for a second to set up the video, but here we have two quarrelers charging Vampire Coast gunnery mobs with bombers, and this is on the normal live patch that everyone is playing on 6.05 or 4 or whatever. Now the bombers do some stupid AI stuff and run around for no reason, but one does what I needed to. So they scatter my quarrelers with a volley, and the quarrelers have to return to formation to reset up and fire. There is a reason I'm pointing this out, but they do have to return to formation to reset up and fire. I have no idea why this bomber mob is just running away. It happens, but again, these guys get scattered out of formation, and then they have to return to formation before they can fire. See them waddling back in to formation to turn and fire. Okay, that'll make sense why I did that in just a bit. So we saw the before, and then I loaded this up because I had noticed it. Yes, very well done, Human Boy, very well done. I had noticed a super promising and cool thing when I was experimenting with the new Nangao grenades unit, so I wanted to show you all something. And then I just ran into something that's kind of funny anyway, but while we set this up. So I wanted to see, when I get hit with blasting charges, how does that go? And then the AI for some reason just lets me kill their bomber mobs for free. That's not the point of this video. We'll get to that in a second. You might be like, why are you still shooting? It's because I need them. I need to be shooting. So as you saw with the earlier thing that I didn't explain, the dwarven models get knocked over by the blasting charges, and now they stand up. And while I was making this video, something was supposed to happen, but it didn't happen. And this is on the new patch, so I was confused as they start to reform lines, and they occasionally fire while they're reforming lines. You might be like, yeah, Human Boy, that's what they do. That's not what I was expecting. What I was expecting to happen shows up in this replay. Now, you might be like, why are you triple gold chevrons, all this stuff? I just got a ton of leadership buffs so that my Nangao Grenadiers don't rout quickly, because I wanted to show you all something. I thought ranged units, which Anticity and I have been complaining about a lot recently, ranged units have had issues with firing and consistency, and I thought that had been fixed, but then the dwarven quarrelers were reforming lines before firing, and that can sometimes lead to some jank and stuff. And now ranged units might have been improved. We need a lot more testing, and honestly just a bunch of multiplayer games is the best way to get that testing, etc, etc. But there's some weird behavior that the Nangao Grenadiers display that made me think ranged units had gotten fixed. Now I wait for the bomber mobs to come get my Nangao Grenadiers. Now watch this. This is going to be the important part. Rambling aside, the bombers are going to start throwing back at my Nangao Grenadiers. Watch what happens when they get knocked over. There we go. There's the first volley. So watch these guys. They get knocked over, right? Now when they stand up, do they get back into formation, or do they do something entirely different? They turn, and they just start returning fire from wherever they happen to stand up. And I thought this was very strange, but it does make them much more consistent about putting out damage, because they don't waste all of their time trying to get back into formation. Instead, they just like stand up wherever they happen to be and return fire, which is very nice and very helpful. It can make your ranged units a lot more consistent about firing back. So that is rather nice. I keep tabbing the little space bar so you can see how spread out the models actually are, and they're still returning fire. Now these guys ended up in melee, so they don't really get to do too much, but like, look at these guys just returning fire from their spread formation and just putting out a lot more damage a lot more consistently. So then I thought to myself, I mean, there were a bunch of Grand Cathay reworks. Maybe Grand Cathay units got a behavior update that the dwarves didn't. So I pulled up some Jade Warrior crossbows, and now we see them get knocked out of position. They stand up, and they take the time to reform ranks before they fire again, greatly increasing the amount of time it takes them to return fire. See it happening over here as well. These guys are getting bombed. They have to stand back up. And some of you get knocked over again, making it even harder for them to get up and return fire. So, okay, it's not Grand Cathay units that are all fixed. So we had the Jade Warrior crossbows took forever to get back in position, similar to the Dwarven Quarrelers. So I thought maybe it's a crossbow thing that they keep reforming lines. So I grabbed more dwarves. I grabbed Thunderers this time and see if a handgun unit can do it. And again, the AI does the silly thing of just constantly running away from me, and then they turn. They're going to finally throw bombs back at me. They knock some of my dwarves out of position. And then my dwarves have to reform lines briefly. But then I think the big volley comes up now. There we go. Big volley. Dwarves get knocked over. Dwarves stand back up. Do they immediately fire, or do they reshuffle? They reshuffle back into position slowly before returning fire. So they are not like the bombers. So my final test of this strange behavior, and honestly, it'll be really funny if I make this video and it should come out Tuesday morning, and then like the patch comes out and this behavior isn't in there at all. But anyway, I just wanted to see finally, not Grand Cathay, not dwarves, not crossbows, not thunderers. Is it just the Nangao grenades, or can all bomber units stand up where they are and return fire? So I grabbed some zombie pirate bombers of my own, stand them back up, give them attack orders, and sure enough, from wherever they happen to stand up, they return fire without the need to get back into formation. So for some reason, in my limited testing of this strange phenomenon, bomber type units don't have to get back into formation to return fire, and handgun or crossbow type units do. So instead they will just spread out as they get scattered, but they will return fire consistently. Don't know what that's about, but it is what it is.
Subscribe, yes, yes.